it has been less than a week since I tried my first cherry slush Alani, and this is now the 4th one I've had. Cheers. I think the terror over all of the bugs in the place I've been staying this summer is finally catching up to me because I'm not sleeping well. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Hi, how are you? How has your week been? I thought it would be super fun to share with you guys some of my favorite books that I have read since I got back into reading in April of last year. I think we're gonna go in reading order. So the first one we have here is Run Rose Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. I listened to this one on Audible in the summer of last year, and I love this book. I have listened to it twice now so far. And if you're gonna read it, I honestly would recommend the audiobook. I am not a huge audiobook lover. I just will stop focusing and it'll go in one ear and out the other. And then I have zero idea what I've just listened to. And I have to like backtrack a lot to like figure out what's going on. But I do recommend this book. So like I said, it's written by Dolly Parton. Well, so obviously one of the characters in this book is based on Dolly Parton, and she actually reads for that particular character in the audiobook version. And the female main character is voiced by Kelsey Ballerini, and it has a full cast of characters like for the audiobook. But I just love it. So it's about this girl. Her name is Annie Lee. She's like from Texas. She makes her way to Nashville because she wants to be the next big country music star. She meets a guy who is a part of Ruth Anna Ryder's studio band. And Ruth Anna Ryder is the character that is based on Dolly Parton herself. So this is about Annie Lee's tragic backstory, coming and catching up with her in Nashville. And it's super fun. It is a mystery, semi-thriller. I wouldn't say it has like that much of a thriller feel. It is so fun to listen to. It's just, I love it. 5 stars. The next one would have to be A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That whole series is a 6-star series for me. I love it. I read it in like December of last year. And I absolutely love it. It is so good. I mean, I know everybody and their mother knows about Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and especially since we've gotten the casting for the show or the movie that's gonna come out, whichever one, I'm not entirely sure. But I am so excited to watch it. I think Emma Myers is going to be an excellent Pip. But yeah, this book really just hooked me in like right from the beginning, and I loved reading like the entire thing. All I know is this could either break my heart, bring it back to life. Got a feeling your electric touch. Got a bit distracted there. It's just so fun. I recommend it to anybody that I get to talk about books with. It's fun, like relatable. As a true crime junkie, this is like, I am the target audience for the series. Now, like I said, I got back into reading in about April of last year. And I hadn't been really reading since I was in like elementary school. So I missed like the pivotal peak moments of literature growing up, you know, like 2014 to 2016 when like everything was like A+ literature. Like there are so many things that like everybody has read, like people who don't even really read that have read, that I haven't. So I'm still in the works of like working to get caught up on things that like everybody's read. So one of the series that I picked up to read like as an effort to like catch up on my reading was of course the Selection series by Kiera. I took these with me on my spring break trip that I went on with my friends this past spring, and I started the first book on a Friday. I would have finished it on that Friday, but we had things to do. So I finished it in the car on the way home Saturday morning. We got back home. I immediately started the Elite and sat on the couch until I finished it. And then I immediately started the One and sat on the couch until I finished that. So I think collectively it took me about 2 days to read these books, all 3 of them. They are immaculate. Like, we'll be reading again, 100%. I mean, yes, America Singer is that like stereotypical girl who's like, I'm not like the other girls, but I loved it anyways. So the next like 6-star read that I had was called The Bodyguard. Now this book was first recommended to me last fall by my roommate, but I was so hesitant to read it. Now, I have mentioned in a previous video that I really love friend recommendations in terms of books, but sometimes I just get so nervous to read books that have been recommended to me because like I am the type of person where if I recommend a book to somebody and they don't really like it as much as I did, like I will get sad. And so if I read a book that somebody has recommended to me and I don't like it as much as they did, like that's gonna make me sad. So I was so nervous to read this book. But then one of my other roommates read the book, and then a mutual friend of ours read the book, and they all 3 absolutely loved it. So I was like, fine, I guess I have to read The Bodyguard by Katherine. I bought it one night when I was sad, and then I still waited another month to read it. But then I read it so quick and I loved it. It was so good. In this book, the girl is the bodyguard because she's cool. But something I absolutely loved about this book is that it takes place in Houston and the characters go to a location that is set in the town that I grew up in, which is so fun. When people ask me where I'm from, I always say I'm from Houston, but that's not true. I grew up west of Houston in a suburb called Katy, Texas. Houston is a very popular setting for like books and movies and stuff, but it was so much fun to read a book that like actually mentioned my city like by name, and that just like made it so much more fun to read. And it is no spice. And I mentioned it before, I don't really like to read spies. And so to have like a really fun romance novel that's 100% no spice is like perfect, like chef's kiss, like exactly what I'm looking for in a book. And then of course we have everybody's favorite, Better Than the Movies by Lynn. I absolutely devoured this book. I think I read it in a grand total of like 30 hours, but it's just so cute. And I know that the sequel's coming out, but it's not coming out until next fall. And I'm like, excuse me, why are you gonna make me wait like over a year for more Wes content? Like that's just rude. So, but it's just so cute, like typical enemies to lovers. I was about to say fake dating, but like that's not, well, I mean, I guess kind of fake dating. Love it. Love it. This was the book that made Lynn Painter like a new auto-buy author from her. And then the last book. I went out on a limb and I told somebody the other day that I think this book is like my most favorite book that I've read since I got back into reading, and I'm sure it's gonna be no surprise to anybody that it is. Of course, it's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Like, what else could it possibly be? Like, it could not possibly be any other book than the one that has gotten like the most hype on social media that I have ever seen a book get, and I'm seeing zero negativity about this book anywhere. Like, everybody who is reading it is absolutely loving it, like giving it 5 stars. I did not initially get my hands on a copy of Fourth Wing because I didn't see anything about it until it had already come out, because I wasn't really like involved in the book community on social media until the book had already come out. So I missed it. I was one of those people who like was looking around trying to find it anywhere, but it was, you know, sold out absolutely everywhere. So my copy doesn't have sprayed edges, but I've been seeing tons of videos on my Instagram of people doing their own sprayed edges. So is that telling me that I can do it myself? Yes. So will I? Probably. But since I just read this book like last week. I mean, you guys saw it in my last video. That's the book that I was reading. I didn't get the book until like the end of July. And because of this, even though I hadn't read the book, hadn't gotten my hands on the book, hadn't even ordered the book yet, I did pre-order Iron Flame as soon as it was announced. I do live in that level of Delulu where it's like, yeah, go ahead, pre-order the sequel to a book you haven't read yet. But I'm really glad I did. Like, it's not a choice I regret, because oh my word, this book, so good. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into this book because I told you guys what my thoughts were about it in the last video. So if you want to know, I don't want to be too repetitive on here, so if you want to know about that, you can go look at that video. I mean, you don't have to watch the whole thing. It would just be in the last like 5 minutes of the video, so you can like skip it and get there. But yeah, like infinity out of 5 stars. So if you are debating whether or not you want to read this book, if you're worried that it's not going to live up to the hype and so you're scared to read it, like, you should read it. You should, 100%. Like, if you don't listen to any of the other recommendations I have on my like 6-star reads from the past year and a half, you should read Fourth Wing. Like, you should read Fourth Wing. That's all I have to say. You should read Fourth Wing. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You probably honestly didn't get any recommendations because all of these books were ones that a lot of people have already read and that so many other people have already recommended. So just wanted to share with you some of my favorite books so you can understand a little bit more what kinds of books I really enjoy reading, and thus the type of content you're going to be getting from this channel, like, from here on out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're feeling up to it or something. I don't know. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.